Hello everyone and welcome to this tutorial on how to get the current URL in Angular. Angular is a powerful framework for building web applications, and knowing how to access the current URL is essential for many tasks such as highlighting active navigation links, conditionally displaying content, and logging user navigation. Before we dive in, make sure you have Angular installed and have a basic understanding of Angular components and services. You will also need Node.js and IDE of your choice. We will be using VS Code in our examples. If you need help setting up an Angular development environment, check out my previous videos on my YouTube channel. Now let's start by creating a new Angular project using the Angular CLI. So open your terminal and run this command ng-new my-angular-project. This will create a new Angular project with the default configuration. As I already have created the project, so I will be using my existing one. This is a very simple basic Hello World project with nothing in it. To access the current URL in Angular, we will use the router service. So first open the component where you want to access the URL and import the router service from the Angular/router. So as I will be using the app.component, so here I will import it in this way. Import router from Angular/router. Now we need to inject the router service into the components constructor. There are two ways to inject a service. So one option is this. Our second approach is router is equal to inject. So you have to import the inject function from the Angular/core. So we can get rid of the constructor for now. Okay, once that is done, now let's explore different ways to access the current URL using the router. So first we will use the router.url property. Okay, so again we have to use the constructor because I want to execute some logic as soon as this class is instantiated by Angular. So here I will create a constant current URL is equal to this.router.url. Okay, and then I can simply console it current URL. You can also include some text. Current URL is equal to this. Now let's open the browser to see what's going on there. So here let's open the inspect element and go to the console, and here it is saying that current URL is / all right now it is so simple. So let's make some routes and test on multiple routes to see what's going on there. So I am going to create a route. So for that, open the app.routes, and here I can create my first route path. Here I can add the about page component would be the about component. So let's generate a new component ng generate c about, and I also want to generate c contact. Okay, press enter. Now we have two components that are generated, and you can see on the left sidebar. Now let's import this about component in this way, and I will add the contact route as well, and let's import the contact component. So make sure to import these components as I did. So after that is done, go to the app.component, and here I will remove it, and instead of that I will add router outlet so that we could load our routes within this outlet. Okay, now let's add some links here like about, and here I can add router link about. By the way, we have to import the router module in this component so that our router link could work. Now you can see it is hyperlink, and if you hover on it, you will notice the path on the bottom left side of this page, and if you click on that, it will take us to the about page. So let me fix the layout a little bit. So I will wrap it inside a nav, and within that I will add some styles like display flex, width should be 100%, height should be 50 pixels, and align item should be center, and justify content should be center, and there should be a border 1 pixel solid. Okay, so let's see what we have. Let me add the flex direction. Actually, let's get rid of this div altogether. Okay, great. Now let me add the contact page as well here. contact page link like this, save it, and let's add some gap between every link, gap 20 pixels, save it. All right, now let's go to the contact page, about page, everything is working fine. But right now you can see that there is only one log in the console, and when I went to the other pages that did not appear, but that's fine, we will improve that part as well. But if you are on the contact page and if you reload it, you will see that it is still saying that current URL is this. Okay, the reason is that we are getting the URL in the constructor, because at that time this route was not loaded. That's why it is saying that it is still on the root level of this URL. But let's implement something here, lifecycle hook after view init maybe, and here I will add ng after view init, and we will move this logic into this and save it. It is still not working, so I guess we have to use a different lifecycle method after content init maybe. Okay, finally it worked on this, but it is showing console 2 times. So first I have used the after view checked lifecycle hook, and it basically triggers several times. So anyways, we just can see that this is the current route after some time. Or the other workaround is that you can just use the timeout in the constructor. I will add the timeout period of 1 second. So after 1 second of the constructor load, it will execute this logic and show the current URL. Now it is showing the current URL correctly. Now if I go to the about page, and to see the URL I have to reload the page again, and now I can see it. So that's great. Now let's move forward. Now we will use the router.events observable to make it more dynamic. So in the constructor, let me remove all of this logic, and here I will use this router.events, and this events property is basically an observable of RxJS. So I will use the pipe on it, and then I will subscribe on it. Okay, so in this pipe function I will pass some operators. First I will pass only actually one operator, that is filter operator. So make sure to import the filter operator from RxJS and then call that, and it will expect a callback function. So that would be event if event is instance of navigation end. Make sure to import this class from the Angular/router. It will return true or false based on this. So actually we want to capture the URL only if navigation has been ended. So because as you saw earlier it was showing the slash as the current URL, and then it shown the slash about a slash contact. So it triggers the event for sometimes, but we don't want to react on any of those events. We want to react or do something only if the navigation has been completed. Now we want to do something, so this will verify that the function within this subscribe function would be executed only if this condition is true, otherwise not. So now I will use the const current URL is equal to event dot, actually here I need to add receive the event navigation end. Okay, this is the type, and here I will check URL after redirect. Okay, so to fix this error, I will just do some changes here a little bit. Here first of all I will add the type event. Make sure to import it from the Angular/router, and then here I will define a return type of this callback function. The return type is event is navigation end. Okay, now you will notice that this error has gone. So basically this approach is a type guard. So it's a way to provide extra type information to TypeScript. This function returns a boolean and has a special return type that tells TypeScript if function returns true, then event is a navigation end. Okay, so that's why now it is not complaining about the type. Now we can show the current URL. Okay, now let's test it. Go to the browser, and right now it is saying that the current URL is about. As soon as you click on the contact page, it will immediately load the path of the current route. So you don't have to reload this time, because we have subscribed to an observable, so it is now showing the updates in the route in the real time. So this is a basic, just very simple example, but you can do a lot of more complicated tasks as well within this callback function. Like maybe you can communicate to the backend, you can use some other complex features that you may have in your project. Anyways, now let's show you a different example. So we will use the activated route service now. So for that, I'm going to import the activated route from Angular/router, or we already have it here. We can use the same line of code to import it. Anyways, now basically let me get rid of all of this, and now I will create a property route is equal to inject, and make sure you have the inject function imported already, and within that I will pass the activated route. This way I will have it injected in my component. Now I will create my constructor again, and within this constructor I will create a variable or constant. Current URL is equal to this dot route dot snapshot dot URL dot join and slash. Okay, now console it and let's test it. Let me get rid of the unused imports. So there is a very useful short key in your VS Code. If you are using VS Code, you're using Mac OS, then press and hold Option Shift and click on O button, then that will optimize your imports and you will get rid of the unused imports. Okay, this is not working because we are inside the app component right now. So if we move all of this logic inside a specific route, for example, this component is in about route. So if I add this logic here, then everything should work here. So I saved that, and now you can see that it is showing the route. And if you go to the contact page and reload it, you will not see it obviously because we did not add it on that contact page. So copy it and paste it on the contact.component.ts file as well, and make sure to import the missing imports. Save it, and let's import this one as well. All right, now you are on the contact page, on about page. So whatever page route you open, it will immediately get the current URL and show it in the alert, or it will also show in the console as well. Okay, so you can see whenever I go to the other route, it shows in the console. Let me get rid of this alert so that I could smoothly go on multiple pages. Okay, you can see that. So basically when you use the snapshot.url, it gives you an array of the segments of your URL. So we are basically joining it with the slash. Okay, so let me quickly show you what I'm talking about. Alert type of this. Okay, save it. Let's go to the about page first. And now you can see it is saying it is type of object. But I know it is not an object, it is an array, but it is still saying it is an object. So to verify that, I will console it and let's see what we have in there. Okay, and now you can see that it is an array of URL segment. All right, so we are basically just joining every URL with a slash to get one single string of the path. If you need to extract URL parameters or query parameters from the current URL, you can still use the activated route service. So let me show you an example. Let's suppose in the app.routes, I have changed my route from contact to this. So here I am basically defining a parameter in my route with the name test. So we will be accessing this route in the contact.component by using this line of code, const id is equal to this dot route dot snapshot params dot test. Let me use this square bracket to access it. Okay, you can give it any name. Now I want to access the query string parameter. For that I will use const name is equal to this dot snapshot dot query params and square bracket with the name in it. Now I want to console it. So here you can add a string in the console and show it. Okay, so after this is done, we will make sure we have saved the app.routes. And now let's go back here and reload it. Go to the contact. It is saying that cannot match any route. So we have to go back to the app.component and update the route. Here I will pass the parameter like hello. It can be anything because it is a variable. Now if you click on that, we are on the contact route with the hello parameter, and we can see the value of the test parameter, and name is undefined because we did not specify any query string parameter yet. So for that I will specify in this way, and as we want to access the name, so I will give it the name and testing. Press enter. Now you can see both values are visible. Name is testing and ID is hello. If you change hello to XYZ and ABC, you will see the updated values. Now let's look at some practical examples where accessing the current URL is useful. So we first example is highlighting active navigation links. Okay, so for that, let's go to the app.component. We already have our navigation links. So let me add another link tag, a router link for the home, and here I can actually go to the TS file and make sure to expose the router to the HTML. To expose it, I will first have to inject the router. So for that, I will create a property router is equal to inject and router. Make sure to import it from the Angular/router. Okay, now in the HTML you are able to access it. So here I will add square bracket and use class.name class.active. So I am going to add the active class, and here I will add router.url. Okay, so here I will add router.url is equal to this. Then we will add the active class, and let's add same kind of conditions on other anchor tags as well. So here I'm saying if the path is about, then add the active class, and same for the contact. Save it. Right now nothing will work, so let's go to the CSS or SCSS file, and here I will design the active class. If active is found, then let me add the a.active. Okay, if active class is found on a tag, then I will change the color of that link. So okay, for the about it is working, for the contact it is not working. Actually it will not work because this has to be equal to this, otherwise it will not make it active. Okay, now you can see it is working. So you will see that on whatever page we are on, it will change the color of that link because of this condition. So this was one way to add the active class. There is another better approach to do that. So that approach is we have another directive router link active, and we will use the pass the class that should be added if this link is active. Okay, so this is shorter and better way. I just used this approach just to show you an example, but if you really want to add active classes, you should use this approach. Okay, now another problem we can see is that both of these links are active. So to fix that, I will add another property like router link options, and make sure to wrap it in square bracket, and here we have to pass an object, and here we will pass the property exact true. So we have to add the same directive on all of these link tags like this, and here as well. So it will highlight them only if it is exactly true, otherwise not. Okay, now everything is working perfectly fine. Next, let's look at another example about conditionally displaying content based on the current route. So for that, let's suppose here I have a div, and let me use this syntax: if router.url is equal to special offer, then display this div that has the h2 tag with some heading special offer, and it has the p tag with the description of this offer: get 50% off on all products today. And obviously this will not be visible because there is no route with this name. So let's quickly add some name of route that is already there. So let's say we have the about route. So as soon as you go to that route, it will show you that offer. Okay, Now let's go to the another example. Uh, you can also use the router to log user navigation for analytics purpose. Maybe you will be saving the logs to the database. So for to make that possible, go to the app.component.ts and here use the constructor, and here we will use this dot router dot events, and then we will subscribe through the pipe function, and within that pipe function we will pass the operator filter. Make sure to import it from rxjs like we did before, and it will call our callback function only if event is navigation end, and here I will use event navigation end, and again to get rid of this error I will add a type of event to this parameter. I am importing it from the angular slash route, and here I have to specify the return type. Event is navigation end. Okay, so in this way we will get rid of that error. Now here we can call a function log user navigation, and here we will pass the URL event.url after redirects. Okay, and obviously we will have to create this function, and here we will have to use this keyword. So this is a very basic demonstration, a very basic example. In the real world it might be very complex. So maybe in this function you will write a logic that will check some conditions and save the data to the database by hitting the REST API endpoints. But in this case I'm just consoling it to the logs. So for that, let me open the console, and you can see it is showing the logs here. If you go to the different page, will show that URL as well, similarly for the home page. Alright, here are a few best practices and tips to keep in mind when working with URLs in Angular. First, use the router link directive for internal navigation instead of hard-coded URLs. Also, avoid using hard-coded URLs and prefer the relative paths. Handle the error scenarios and invalid URLs gracefully. Use debugging tools and console logs to troubleshoot the URL-related issues. That concludes our tutorial on how to get the current URL in Angular. We covered different methods using router service, handling URL parameters and query parameters, and practical use cases. Remember to practice and experiment with these techniques to solidify your understanding. If you found this tutorial helpful, please like and share this with others who might benefit from it. Don't forget to subscribe to our channel for more Angular and web development tutorials. Leave a comment below if you have any questions or suggestions for future topics you would like us to cover. Thanks for watching and happy coding.